Hey, hey, what's up, everybody? It is a Tuesday. It is a very rainy, gloomy Tuesday. Um, Nothing particular to talk about. Just kind of want to touch base, say hello, talk a little bit about my camping trip this weekend, and share a couple little things. I guess I don't know. I have no notes this week. I'm just talking off the cuff. But since I told you in the title, it's a Taco Tuesday with bacon. I reckon I ought to show you some bacon. All right. Oh, yeah. That's always motivating, energizing. So, let me get on and tell you about my camping trip. One of these days, I'm going to get it all together. It's going to come together like pieces of a puzzle. But it did not this weekend. But I kind of did have a little bit of fun. Got a few things done. The Sorry, I'm talking, chewing some of this overcooked bacon, but it was cheap, so I'm not going to complain. But so once again, I went back to my favorite place, Mystic Springs Recreation Area. It's a wildlife management area in the Escribano. Yeah, let me try that again. I screwed that one up. Escambia River Wildlife Management Area. I get thinking too many things ahead. Hey, Jeremy, how are you? Nice to see you popping in. Thank you. Um, so anyway, Jeremy. I was just saying that nothing really scripted. Just want to say hi to the people. It's raining down here in the Panhandle of Florida. Pretty miserable day. I have to go to work in 3 hours, and I just wanted to touch base, tell a little bit about uh, my weekend, my plans, what I had intended to do, and what actually happened. So here it goes. The Saturday I didn't do a whole lot. I'm trying to think. What did I do Saturday? I think I pretty much was just lazy. I went to a sports bar, had a couple cold snacks, watched a little bit of TV, football, and stuff. I really didn't do much. It was pretty much just like a re-energize, recoup thing. And then I made a reservation for a free a free campground. It's a wildlife management area. So I made the reservation. So I'm also going to give you a tip. I don't know if this is standard through all the wildlife management areas, but I ended up talking to a friend of mine who had a friend with him that I really didn't know. And we were talking about this area, which has 8 campsites. And he says every time I try and go to the website to book, he says it says they're always full. I'm going to tell you why that occurs because I ran into the same problem. It took me a little while. I'm a little slow upstairs, but if you do not create a login account for that website, it's always going to say that there's no availability. Hey, Melinda, thanks for coming back. But yeah, it'll always tell you there's no availability. But once you create an account, which is super easy, and when I log in there, boom, boom, it saves my information. It's super easy. And then all of a sudden, boom, it popped up. And I don't know why this happened because it's the first time I noticed this, but it said that the only site available was site number 8, which I stayed previously next to it. Site number 8's not too bad, but I really love site number 3. So I really didn't want, I was torn whether I wanted to do that or not. So then they have a drop down thing, and I click on the drop down arrow, And all of a sudden there it was showing site number 3 was available. So I jumped on it right away. I booked it for free. So happy I did. Get out there real early in the morning. It was, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock. I forget what time it was. Nobody was there. And then I noticed that the campground didn't have that many residents. One, probably because of the weather. So I'm going to also give you another tip. This is an unofficial tip, but something you might want to keep in the back of your head. When people reserve a campsite that is free, they have no sense of urgency to cancel it if they're not coming out there. So there's a really, really good chance you could get just roll in and get a campsite, even though it's showing reserved. You could get a campsite. So I'm not telling you to. I guess it could technically be breaking the law. I don't know. It to me, it's silliness, nonsense. But on paper, it could show that somebody's reserved that. But if the weather turned or whatever, they're not going to care about canceling a free reservation. But if they had $50, $60 or $30 invested, they want to get a refund. So keep that in mind. So I had enough foresight this time to bring a shovel with me, a round point shovel, full length. And I said, you know what? I'm going to clean out the fire pit. And if the other fire pits look rough and they're not occupied, I'm going to try and do that. Well, my immediate neighbors, I was at site 3, so it was 3, 2, 1. They had people camping there, so I didn't disturb them. One guy had a fire going, but then there was other 2. I'm trying to think. I think there were sites 4 and 5 around the corner from me. Really cool story coming up, by the way. But so I walked over there, and I was able to get some free firewood. If you get there early at these campgrounds, you can forage and get a lot of free firewood. I had a lot with me, but I figure I can save that for another day and just use what people left over. So I try and do that. So that's another tip for you. So so I do that, and then there was this real long log. I had a perfectly straight cut on the end of one side, and the other end was kind of angled a little bit. So I don't know. A little while ago, I just released a video talking about an auger tool. You can make like a timber tote or a Swedish log type thing. It was a terrible video, but I filmed it. I took the time to film it, and I like to show the struggles and the reality of failure. While you're camping. So it was dark, not the greatest thing. I'll do another video one day when I have a proper log. But in the morning, I did stop at a firewood place, and it was an honor system where you could scan QR codes and pay with a credit card or a debit card, but they had no tree rounds. So a friend of mine that I know comes out there a lot on Saturdays and Sundays, I messaged him, asked him if he could bring a chainsaw or a bow saw, which I really need to get a bow saw. I've been talking about that forever, and now that's moved up in my priority list. But he finally did come out, but told me he didn't have one with him and all that. So it's all okay. But so before he came out, I saw 2 hunters get out of their truck, and I started talking to them a little bit, and just curious. I always like trying, if people are okay with it, get new interviews or footage, or especially outdoors. I don't do a whole lot with hunting, so talking to other hunters would be cool for an outdoors channel. So these 2 guys, they weren't real. They were real clean cut, and come to find out, they apparently were in the Marine Corps, and they were trying to go duck hunting. I guess it had opened up at midnight or something like that, and so they had a kayak that was really, really well camouflaged with uh, branches and debris and stuff like that, so they could use it like a duck blind, a floating duck blind. Excuse me, I'm getting a cold. I was going to talk about that too shortly. But they had problems with their trolling motor, so they came back, and then so I asked them if they knew my friend who has the Facebook group and YouTube pages, and they said yeah, and they weren't members, but they know them. And then a little while later, that guy James shows up, and we all get talking and stuff like that. So um, it was also squirrel hunting season. So I said to the guys, I said, right over here. I asked them first of all because I wasn't sure. Like, it's a wildlife management area, how close you can hunt to the pavilions and the campers and stuff like that. Apparently, it's wide open according to them. So I said, well, over here where this little half circle is, there's all kinds of activity. I just walked through there, and there was all kinds of noise. So there's definitely action in there. Those young guys went over there, and boom. Next thing you know, the guy's holding up his first ever hunting bounty. That was really cool. That was really cool to see, and it was really neat. A lot of stuff was talked about. Yeah, Melinda. Yeah, the squirrel hunters. That was squirrel number one, and that was that guy's first ever hunt. Where he actually got something. So they came back later, and turns out they got 5. So that was really cool. They turned a failed duck hunting trip into a successful squirrel hunting trip. So then when James and his buddy came through, they didn't have as much time as the other guys did, but they went out and they only got 2, but 7 squirrels. So I guess I don't know what a good day is, but it sounds to me like some people are going to be eating okay. Never tried the squirrel, but Melinda seems to think you smother it in gravy. So I'm going to trust her word. Hopefully James does do a recipe for us. If he does, I will share it. But so yeah, so let me get on to tell you this part. Man, I was so mad. So in my mind, I'd been working really, really hard to create this really, really cool, I'm going to call it a competition cooking. I don't want to tip my hand too much, but it was going to be very professional for once, very organized, very systematic. I was so happy I got there early. I had everything planned. Everything was going great until it started raining. And I'd only checked the weather forecast for Milton, which is 40 miles away. So I thought it would pretty much be the same the day before, but turned out it rained all night. Then I had another mishap. Had to move inside the van, and I was okay. I was going to eat, I canned veggies. I can eat that. Oh yeah. None of the canned veggies I had were Pop Tops. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Melinda. Fortunately, where those guys where they, you know, captured that squirrel, there was no campers on that area. So, yeah, plus they're shooting up. It's not like they're shooting a deer on the ground or anything. So, yeah, I do understand your concern. That's kind of how I feel too. But I know these guys follow the rules. Uh, but anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so the competition cooking thing, it was really cool. I so want to tell you about it, but I still have it in my back pocket that I can do in this video. So when you know, you know. No, Paul C, I do not have donuts. Paul C is he's a little bit loco. We're working on bro nuts, which is brownies shaped like donuts. We got something planned there. But so anyway, yeah, so I was so mad that didn't happen. I didn't have a can opener, so pretty much earlier in the night I had a salad from Walmart, and then that's pretty much all I had to eat all night long. So I was not happy about that. Then get up early the next morning, The weather was still raining. I had pulled the tables underneath the pavilion. They were wet. I had to dry. It was just like, didn't go as planned, but it's always fun to get outdoors. I did get a couple good, not good videos. I did get a couple videos, but yeah, maple and bacon. We'll try that, Paul. So when I'd been talking to my buddy James, by the way, he got a really nice new boat, and this thing is really, really nice. He's got a story about why he had to get a new boat. I don't know if I'm allowed to share it, if he'll ever share it publicly. I don't know, but I'm not going to put his stuff on the street. But he had to get a new boat. But so they told me about another wildlife management area under the same um, Escambia River Wildlife Management Area, and that was called Cotton Lake. And I had never noticed that. I didn't know about it, so it was really cool to learn about it. So when I was leaving the campground that morning, they told me where it was, gave me great directions, got right to it, and I was really excited to find a new place, especially a new free place. But when I got there, it was not as nice as I was hoping. Right on the river, really, really, they probably do a better job with picnic tables right on the river and benches for day use stuff like that. They have upright cooking grills, grates, whatever you want to call it. They don't have any fire pits for the day use, but they do have the upright cooking areas. But so they have those square, like 6x6 posts in the ground to designate the parking areas. So that in the back area there is 2 tent camping areas, and I'm, at my age, I don't think I'm gonna do a whole lot of tent camping. I do have a couple small tents. I could do it if the weather was just perfect, but we'll approach that another day. But so then there was 4 other pavilions and camping areas, but I kid you not, they were like side by side. Like I, I didn't, they were all occupied, so I didn't really walk over there, but from a distance I looked. So they're probably 15 feet apart. Each camping area with the pavilion, they have the fire rings, the cooking stations, like 15 feet apart. So if you were having a conversation, like if I was talking to YouTube on the phone, you could hear everybody else, or they could reach out and tickle you. It's just like, it seemed to me like it wasn't real good. But apparently, some of the bigger RVs do park there. So if you ever had the ability to, this is called Cotton Lake, and no, Jeremy, I'm not eating tacos right now, but when I'm done with this video, there's a place here in Milton called Taco Town. I'm going to go over there. I haven't eaten there in about a week because my vehicle was disabled. So they have really good, cheap food, very tasty food. So I love going there. Really nice people, like supporting them. But so if you had a group trip planned and you could get all 4 of those pavilions, you could really have a good time. If everybody knew each other, and that could be a really good time. So I kind of just did like a drive through, and when I'm leaving, I haven't posted this little short video. It's only like 7 seconds long, but they had there was all these beautiful looking. They looked domestic, but I didn't see any houses nearby. But all these chickens were just roaming around, scratching, doing their thing. So that was kind of cool. So I feel like I'm forgetting something other than, like, every other day I seem to wake up with a sore throat. It wasn't that cold last night, but in a couple nights, Thursday night, it's supposed to get really, Thursday and the Friday, it's going to get really cold again. So some days I wake up with the Sam Elliott voice, really deep voice, and then some days it's real scratchy. And so it is what it is. Just want to say hi to everybody. Um, Man, I feel like I'm forgetting something. I really need to purge the van. It was raining when I came back from camping, and I wanted to go to my storage unit, but it was coming down in buckets. So I had tables in here, banquet tables. So I had to, last night it was raining when I got off work, when I finally got parked. So I had to kind of crawl through, try and reorganize everything until I could purge the van like I wanted to do this morning, but it's still raining. So with that being said, I'm going to tap out. Just want to say hi to everybody. Nice seeing you guys. I did a shout out video for a really nice channel. If you guys like seeing some cool stuff, he goes all over, does some really good YouTube work, way better than I am. But Flat Broke Outdoors, go check him out. Tell him G Money sent you. Give him subscribe a look. He did a little bit of a longer video on a flashlight. I really didn't get to watch much of it. I had some things going on, but a lot of his other videos are really, really good. A little bit shorter, and you know, like showing camping meals and just general outdoor stuff. So check him out. I'm going to tap out, say goodbye. See you next time. Stay tuned. And the wreath laying ceremony for Wreaths Across America is this Saturday, December 14th. That's kind of like globally. So I'm possibly going to be participating with the city of Milton to do that. If I don't I physically participate, I may just film if I can, depending on what the weather is doing. And all I use is my phone. So keep that in mind, and y'all have a great week, and talk to you soon. Stay tuned to the channel, because if I can do that cooking competition video, I hope it turns out as good as I think it is. But things usually don't. So stay tuned. Take care, all. Have a good week. Stay out of trouble.